Hi, this is Frank Spillers, the WUCA Dude from the BWUCA Company, Global Horizons. I just want to talk to you today about change and how we can help people through what's happening and the changes that are taking place all along in our lives. You know, it's been great change over the century because we've had electricity start up, we have indoor plumbing, that's a big one, and now we have the internet or broadband to where people can work from home. It's great for our workforce and great to expand rural America, which is really what we're trying to do. But change is taking place, and some people are having a hard time with that. You know, people have habits. They get into the habit of thinking in some point of way. And change is just trying to change people's habits, trying to change the environment to where people respond differently, or the environment is different, or something else has to change. So I want to show you this analogy here. If change was an ice cube, you would take it out of the refrigerator. This is in the refrigerator, but you take it out of the freezer and you put it on. Now there's two ways that you can change this ice cube. One way is you take it out of the freezer and you get a hammer, and then you go like this, and it goes all over the place. You have nothing left. It's uncontrollable change. It happens immediately and it happens very violently. People don't have a chance to adjust to the change. And there's some people out there that want to control and want all the power that they can get, so they just get a bigger hammer and with more change on there. But let me talk to you about how we help communities with change and how we help people with change. Take an ice cube, take it out of the freezer, put it on the counter, and what? It can change. It immediately starts to change, but it's just a slow process. It's the change of taking it out of the freezer, putting it on the counter, and then letting it melt. Now, when it starts to melt, it changes form. It comes from a solid into a liquid. And we call that change the transition period, to go from a solid to the liquid. So this transition period is where you will help people manage the change. You will help them to, from one habit to another, to let go of one habit and adopt another. Great leaders and great managers know this, and they will help people transition through the change. Just like this ice cube now is starting to melt based upon taking it out of the freezer. Once it melts and becomes a puddle of water, you can mold it and put it into any shape that you want. And it will then have the new habit of change. And then you can refreeze that and you have a new way of doing things. And you have brought people from one habit to another with the least amount of friction. People love change, they just don't like transition. And so when you try to transition somebody with this, it gets very, very uncomfortable, and people then respond and push back. But when you have a great leader that manages change and lets the transition take place, and they help them through the transition, then you have an understanding of where you're going and an improvement from here to here. People don't like change, or excuse me, people do love change, they just don't like transition. So as Martin Luther King says, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to make the first step. And this is that first step in great leaders making change, helping people transition from one habit to the other. This is Frank Spillers. This has been the BWUCA Way vlog, the greatest ever on change that you will ever see. Have a great day.